Good afternoon to you. Well, really the big story, I suppose, is around the unemployment figures. Depending on how you look at it, it does appear now that around 45% of South Africans are without work. Let's get some reaction to those figures from Statistics South Africa that show so many people not able to work during the lockdown. Let me just put that back first. It shows how much work we have to do to create jobs. And the numbers show we lost 2.2 million jobs during the lockdown. No certainty as to whether those jobs will actually come back. The Reverend Kenneth Meshoe is the leader of the African Christian Democratic Party. He joins me now. Father Meshoe, good afternoon to you. How would you try and resolve this awful economic situation that we're in?
Well, we are very disappointed as the ACDP to see an increase of 2.2 million jobs that have been lost. We know that with the loss of jobs, we lose income. With a lot of income, poverty increases in the country. But there are a few things that the ACDP proposes that have to be done to create jobs in South Africa. The first thing is to make South Africa an attractive investment destination. And that can be made by ensuring that corruption and crime in South Africa are eradicated. The investors would like to invest in countries where they will feel safe and where they will know that their assets are also safe. But we also believe that the issue of beneficiation that has been spoken about for a long time has to be urgently implemented, because when raw materials are sent outside, then wherever those raw materials are sent, jobs are going to be created. We believe that the jobs in South Africa must be created by ensuring that government reduces the raw materials that are being exported and start completing manufacturing what they produce so that they can send out finished products. And with finished products, obviously, the people that will be working on those finished products will be people who are having jobs. The other thing is localization. We import too many things. I was surprised when somebody said to me, do you know that even toothpicks are imported? Why should we import the toothpicks when we have the ability to can make them ourselves? You know, when you look at one of the controversies that the current president of Donald Trump brought in, it was when he started saying we want to make America great. We want to start manufacturing even our own cars, because there are factories that have been shut down. Our cars are manufactured in China and other things are manufactured outside places. Let's put our country first and ensure that we produce ourselves. So we need to do that, and also our school curriculum must include courses on entrepreneurship, so that when the students leave schools, they should not leave thinking I'm going to start a job or look for a job, but they must start thinking about I'm going to make a company, invest in a company so that I will employ my own people rather than go and search for a job. Why are we not teaching our children that they can become job creators rather than job seekers? So these are some of the things that the ACD believes, if they are implemented, we can help create jobs in the country. People who are working and people who want to invest must be guaranteed that they are going to feel safe, and also, obviously, the tax incentives has to be central to this. Make sure that when a person wants to start a company in South Africa or invest in South Africa, that they're given tax incentives.
Father Meshoe, I mean, protectionism is all very well, but the fact is there is a reason why an iPhone is designed in California and actually manufactured in China, because it's so much cheaper. Do you believe that South African workers would accept Chinese or Vietnamese wages?
Well, I understand the role and importance of protectionism. I understand that America chooses iPhone to be made, for example, in China because of cheap labor. Now, we don't believe in cheap labor. Workers must be given decent jobs. One reason why many countries choose China to manufacture their goods is because China abuses their labor. China does not pay enough to their workers, so they abuse, which is something that South Africa should not be involved in, abusing labor.
Okay, that's fine. But that would mean that an iPhone would cost 40,000 Rand instead of whatever it costs. I mean, you wouldn't be able to afford toothpicks. You'd never use them because they'll be too expensive. To put it another way, China and the rest of the world has seen a massive increase in wealth because of a lack of protectionism, because of international trade. Trade, generally, actually increases wealth around the world. That's what we've seen. We're one of the losers in international trade. Sure, I fully accept that. Anyone in the textile industry would be able to prove that in a hot second. But the point is that protectionism doesn't necessarily work either. I mean, would you pay 3 times what you pay to wear the clothes that you're wearing now?
I believe workers can be reasonable. All right? The fact that South Africa has lost so many jobs, if you talk to workers, you talk to laborers, and say labor, this is how much this product would cost in South Africa. This is how much it costs in China. In order to help create jobs, you need to be reasonable and not expect wages that are that way high, that are 3 times, 4 times what they are paying in China. Can you understand that? Let's meet each other halfway in order to ensure that our people have an opportunity to get jobs. And as you know, that unions, they fight all the time. They don't want people to lose jobs. But if we negotiate, the thing that is important now is negotiation. Our people do understand when you put facts on them. The problem many times is that workers don't know what is happening. Unions don't know what is happening. Deals are made behind their backs. That's why they think we are exploited. We want these high salaries. Why? Because of what our managers are getting, the profit that is being made. But I believe if you sit them down and say, guys, let's look at the figures, they will become reasonable. We may not even necessarily have to pay 3 or 4 times that we are talking about. Because our people, I believe, once they understand, they will be willing to go halfway and lose what they could have got if our economy was good.
Father Meshoe, I mean, I also want to pick up your point about teaching young people entrepreneurship. We've had this discussion many times. Other people have suggested it as well. In fact, other people have suggested it to me just this afternoon here on Newsfeed. But I worry slightly that we are then holding young people responsible for the economic position that they're in, when in fact it is people of the generation that you and I come from who are responsible for creating this situation.
Stephen, I agree with you. All right? The generation you come from has also created a culture of dependency, the culture of everything the state is doing for us and so on. And our children in schools are not taught the value of hard work. Now, one of the reasons why many of our young entrepreneurs cannot compete with the foreigners, and particularly when you look in the township setting, you look at the spaza shops, our people cannot compete. And one of the reasons is that those who come from outside have been working some in stores from a very young age. When the parent who owns the store wants to leave, they'll leave the shop in the hands of their own child. 15 years, 14 years, 16 years, okay? And they go and they teach them responsibility. Something that's not happening in South Africa. Many South Africans, rather than know about the value of hard work, they know that the government says they must not work. At home, you know that there are many times parents are complaining and say, my daughter is doing nothing, my son is doing nothing to help us at home. Because why? We have said children must not work, and we are paying the price of that. We have created a culture of demand, which we are paying a price for that. That's why people who come from outside, they are willing to work, sometimes even for almost nothing, as long as they can work and can put bread on the table. Now, they have been taught from where they come from. This is a teaching that we do not find in our homes. Parents need to teach their children the value of hard work from young. When they go to school, schools also need to teach the value of hard work. You know, when we grew up, Stephen, we were cleaning our own classrooms, we were cleaning our own properties. You know, our schools were clean. Why? Because we were doing the job. Now, I know some people can say children must focus on their studies and not doing these things. Friends, it does not work. You look at Japan, look at other countries, their children from primary school, they know how to clean what belongs to them. Many South Africans don't know how to clean what belongs to them. They know how to destroy what belongs to them. So I'm saying let's reintroduce the culture of hard work, teach our children in the homes, and teach our children in the schools.
Father Meshoe, I do want to just pick up, and I'm very interested in the point you made about people who come from outside. You're talking about foreign nationals. And over the last few weeks, we've seen, it looks like a huge tide of xenophobic comments on social media. We've actually seen that people are manipulating Twitter and Facebook as well. In some cases, they're just making it up. Then that leads to a feeling that people are xenophobic. There was a very small march last week. I am going to call it that, despite the fact that I know what's going to happen to my timeline as a result. But it was a very small march towards the Nigerian embassy in Swane. Do you believe that we South Africans are xenophobic?
Well, I don't believe they are definitely not the majority, but there is a fraction among us that is very dangerous. There is a fraction among us that is causing people to be intolerant of people who are coming from outside. And I believe it is wrong to paint everybody with the same brush. While there are crooks among Nigerians, there are also crooks among South Africans. Our prisons are not full of foreign nationals who are criminals, but our prisons are full of South Africans who are criminals. So now to say all Nigerians must go, all Nigerians are not good, all Nigerians are crooks, it is wrong, because there are individuals in all nations that are unreliable, that are criminals. So South Africans, we have grown up to love foreigners, love everybody. Our economy for years was not built only by South Africans, but it was also built by foreign nationals. We have had people from Malawi working in our mines, working in our towns, working in different businesses. We have seen people from Zimbabwe, from Lesotho, and many other places. And we never had the problem of xenophobic attacks in the past. But now we also have politicians whose language must be clean, whose language is dirty, whose language spells intolerance. Our problems are caused by these people who come from outside, and that is not true. We have created our own problems.
I also want to just ask you very quickly, if you don't mind, about former President Jacob Zuma, Father. I mean, yesterday we understand he's trying to basically get Deputy Chief Justice Raymond Zondo to recuse himself. He claims that the judge is biased against him. How do you see this playing out?
I would be disappointed if Deputy Chief Justice recused himself, because they will be setting a bad precedent for the future. That when a person realizes that the law is now about to catch them, then they make claims against the person sitting on the chair. Why didn't he raise the issue of he knows there are deals they made in the past, he's conflicted? Why didn't he raise that from the beginning? I personally believe that the Deputy Chief Justice should not recuse himself, because the case is almost coming to an end. In the past, we know that former President Jacob Zuma has used delaying tactics, made excuses, caused unnecessary postponements, but this time let the trial go ahead in November, let the truth come out so that people can know what the former president is guilty of and what he's not guilty of.
Father Kenneth Meshoe, I do appreciate the time. Thanks very much indeed, the leader of the African